Hello and welcome to History and Facts, where we discover facts about days through the year. Please remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe. Today we are looking at August 14th through the years. Interesting days tied to August 14th include Internet Blackout Day, Financial Awareness Day, World Lizard Day, and Pakistan Independence Day. We'll talk about that last one later. Okay, let's get started with Number 1. Hubble, Bubble, Toil and Trouble. In August 1040, King Duncan I of Scotland led a military campaign into Moray, a province ruled by his cousin Macbeth Mac Findlaich. Duncan's reign was troubled. He'd suffered defeats in England and Caithness against Norse forces, weakening his authority. Macbeth, meanwhile, had a strong claim to the throne through his mother and became Mormar of Moray in 1032. The two met in battle at Pidgaveny, near Elgin. The battle was significant. The clash marked the end of Duncan. Duncan's sons, Malcolm and Donald, fled into exile, and Macbeth was crowned King of Scots. Macbeth ruled for 17 years, a notably long and stable reign for the time. He married Gruach, the granddaughter of King Kenneth III, further strengthening his legitimacy. Far from being a tyrant, Macbeth was known for fair governance. He made a pilgrimage to Rome in 1050, donating to the poor. He maintained control until 1054, when Siward of Northumbria invaded on behalf of Duncan's son Malcolm. Macbeth was eventually laid to rest in 1057 at the Battle of Lumphanan. Shakespeare's Macbeth, written around 1606, over 500 years later, reimagines these events for dramatic effect. Duncan becomes a saintly old man dispatched in his sleep, Macbeth, a guilt-ridden usurper driven by witches and ambition. The play was crafted to flatter King James I's lineage and love of drama with supernatural flair. The real Macbeth wasn't haunted by prophecy. He was a capable ruler caught in the brutal politics of medieval Scotland. Number 2. Flight of the Dynasty. As Minamoto Yoshinaka closes in on Kyoto, the ruling Taira clan faces reckoning. With Emperor Go Shirakawa turning against them, Taira no Munamori orders a strategic retreat. He escorts the child Emperor Antoku, then 6 years old, and the three sacred treasures, the sword, mirror, and jewel of Japan aren't just ceremonial items. They embody authority, divine ancestry. They are the very idea of legitimate rule. August 14, 1183, Kyoto wakes to silence. The emperor and regalia are gone. And with them, the city's political soul. This act redefined the Genpei War. From here on, it's a war for legitimacy, fought not just with swords but with symbolism. Munamori heads west, toward Taira-friendly territories, carrying what remains of his clan's claim to power. The capital, now in Minamoto hands, holds no ruler or divine mandate, just a throne's echoes. That morning marks the transformation of conflict into myth. The Heike no longer fight as dominant rulers, but as a displaced dynasty clinging to imperial dignity. The symbolism of that flight, fading into the morning mist, will ripple through Japanese history, echoing in no plays, epic poems, and the final tragedy at Dan no Ura. What began as a tactical retreat now stands as a narrative fracture, the day Kyoto was emptied of its emperor. Number 3. The Battle of Mauron. In 1352, near the village of Mauron, in Brittany, an outnumbered Anglo Breton force of around 2,000 men, led by Sir Walter Bentley and Tanguy du Chastel, faced off against a Franco-Breton army nearly twice their size. The French, commanded by Marshal Guy II de Nesle, were under orders to retake strategic territory, including the castle at Ploermel. But Bentley chose to meet them head-on. He positioned his troops in a classic English formation, men at arms in the center, longbowmen on the flanks, and woodland at their backs to prevent encirclement. The French attacked late in the day. Their cavalry was shredded by English arrows, and dismounted knights struggled uphill under heavy armor. Despite early pressure on the Anglo-Breton right, Bentley's line held. The result was a rout. Guy de Nesle was dispatched, along with Alain de Tintignac, hero of the Battle of the 30. Crucially, 89 knights of the newly formed Order of the Star were also laid to rest as many refused to retreat due to their oath. The loss devastated the pro-French Breton aristocracy and gave the Montfort faction a decisive edge. Mauron wasn't just a battlefield victory. It was a symbolic blow to French chivalry and a turning point in the Breton succession crisis. Number 4. Cologne Cathedral. After 632 years of halted progress, forgotten plans, and shifting political landscapes, Cologne Cathedral was finally completed on the 14th of August 1880. The crowning achievement, its soaring 157-meter spires, marked the end of a project that had defined the skyline and spirit of Cologne for centuries. The unveiling, attended by Emperor Wilhelm I, became a national celebration of architectural triumph, declaring that centuries of interrupted ambition had finally been realized. Construction had originally begun on the 15th of August 1248, with Archbishop Conrad von Hochstaden laying the foundation stone to mark the Feast of the Assumption. Designed to house the sacred shrine of the Three Kings, the cathedral's French Gothic architecture was as much a symbol of religious devotion as civic pride. But by 1473, work ceased, leaving the structure dormant for over 400 years. A medieval crane, left frozen atop the South Tower, became an unintended icon of incompletion. The 19th-century revival, driven by nationalist fervor and supported by King Friedrich Wilhelm IV, turned forgotten medieval plans into a blueprint for modern pride. Under industrial-era conditions, workers achieved in 38 years what medieval builders could not, completing the most ambitious structure in German history. Today, Cologne Cathedral remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a testament to perseverance. Number 5. An Olympic tradition. As the battered city of Antwerp raised the curtain on the 7th Olympiad, in 1920 history was made, not through medals or records, but through symbolism. That day introduced 3 rituals that still define every Olympic Games. First, the newly designed Olympic flag, bearing 5 interlocking rings, was raised to represent unity across 5 continents. Second, white doves were released into the sky, a poignant gesture of peace in a world just emerging from the wreckage of war. And third, Belgian fencer Victor Bouin stepped forward to deliver the first Olympic oath, pledging integrity on behalf of all athletes, a tradition now spoken in nearly every language, at every Games. Though some events had begun in April, August 14th was the heartbeat, a formal opening that embodied the new Olympic spirit. With King Albert I presiding and 2,626 athletes from 29 nations in attendance, even as Germany and its allies were barred, the ceremony turned sport into diplomacy. These games weren't lavish, many athletes slept on straw mats, and wartime damage lingered, but they mattered. The ideals born on that rainy August day in Antwerp still echo through every torch relay, oath, and unfurling flag. It was more than an opening, it was a redefinition of what the Olympics stood for. Number 6. The end in sight. On the 14th of August 1945, Emperor Hirohito agreed to the Allies' terms of unconditional surrender. The surrender came 3 months after Germany had already stood down in May, the last Axis power finally agreeing to the terms in the Potsdam Declaration. The formal signing wouldn't come until September 2nd, but this was the moment the war's end became inevitable. In Tokyo, a desperate military coup tried to stop the broadcast of Hirohito's recorded message. Officers stormed the imperial palace, hoping to silence the emperor. Thankfully, they failed. That night, War Minister Korochika Anami, a staunch opponent of surrender, ritually dispatched himself, leaving behind a heartfelt apology to the emperor for his great crime. The message aired the next morning. For the first time, the Japanese people heard their emperor's voice, and with it, the war ended. Across the globe, the announcement triggered euphoric celebrations. In London, New York, and Sydney, crowds danced in the streets. But beneath the jubilation lay a sobering truth. Japan had continued fighting long after Germany's defeat, and the cost was staggering. Over 70 million lives were lost during the war. August 14th didn't mark the official end, but it was the pivot point. The moment the last great holdout fell, and the world could begin to rebuild its fractured relations, finally emerging from the shadow of war. Number 7. The Partition of India. In the summer of 1947, Pakistan emerged as a sovereign state, born from the partition of British India. The new dominion of Pakistan included West Pakistan, modern-day Pakistan, and East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. The creation of Pakistan was the culmination of decades of political struggle led by the All India Muslim League, under Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who became the country's first governor-general. The movement was driven by the two-nation theory, which argued that Muslims and Hindus were distinct nations, each deserving their own homeland. The partition was enacted through the Indian Independence Act, passed by the British Parliament in July 1947, and executed by Viceroy Lord Mountbatten. Though the official transfer of power occurred at midnight between 14 and the 15th of August, Pakistan chose to celebrate its independence on the 14th, allowing Mountbatten to attend ceremonies in both countries. The date also coincided with 27th Ramadan, a sacred night in Islam, adding spiritual resonance to the moment. Despite this, being called for the partition resulted in chaos and violence, marking one of the largest mass migrations in history. 15 million people uprooted from their homes marked a seismic shift in geopolitics, the legacy of which still reverberates through India, Pakistan and Bangladesh today. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed your visit to History and Facts. If you did enjoy, or find the video interesting, we have many more coming. So please like, comment, and subscribe, to be notified when we release a new one.